Star Wars Jedi Survivor takes place 5 years after Fallen Order, which took place 5 years after the events of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Jedi Survivor, if we're looking at shows that are on Disney+, Jedi Survivor would take place around the same time as Andor and the Obi-Wan series. Even in the Obi-Wan series, if you have watched it, you will recognize the Inquisitors from that show. It's weird that to fully understand who are the people you start off with that quickly die, the twins, Gab, and Bravo, because Bode survives.
Get to cover!
Beric and Inquisitor! Look out!
Yes.
You need to watch the Disney Plus shows. I felt like I was missing a big piece of the game at the beginning and couldn't fully get invested in the story or even the deaths of those characters. The biggest and most welcome change is the fact you don't have to hit the L2 or whatever to grab onto a vine or grate to climb. This makes the climbing mechanics far more fluid and easier to do. Also, the game starting you off as a Jedi makes it so you're not going through a bunch of boring tutorials, slowly becoming a Jedi Knight, which makes it far more fun and exciting at the jump. I also felt like the world just off at the beginning and throughout our adventure so far, it feels like the world's not as empty. It's a lot fuller, there's a lot more going on around you, which I greatly appreciate. They built off a base model and are giving you now the supercharged model. The musical score, sound effects from the blaster, or whoosh sound as you swing your lightsaber feels as authentic as any Star Wars movie or game ever has.
No traffic. Looks like this portal's under maintenance.
As soon as we breach the surface, jump to light speed.
Gotta take the risk. We've already overstayed our welcome.
The voice acting is also top-notch, and me personally, I've been a big fan of Cameron Moynihan since I saw him on the show Shameless on Showtime.
What's going on?
That. Oh, shit. What do you want, Senator? A confession?
There are plenty of upgrades and side paths you can take to find all the echoes, which add more to the story and understand the situation you're in. They kind of remind me of the like tape recorders that you would find in BioShock, and the ghosts would appear and give you more background to what is going on in the area that you're currently in.
This is art right here. I'm doing it right now. This is performance art. You guys understand? This is a living painting that you see. Michelangelo, Leonardo, Da Vinci, they're all dead. I remain. You understand? I remain as a performance artist.
Some of the options, such as the ability to turn on arachnophobia mode so no spiders show up, is a highly appreciated feature that hopefully more games in the future adapt. Similar to how colorblind mode is in all new modern games, and I really appreciate these features because there's a lot of people, especially my brother, who does have arachnophobia. He's afraid to play certain games, and that sucks because he should be able to just enjoy it. Me and my brother Rocky played on the second from highest difficulty and didn't encounter much of a challenge. But we also have beaten games like God of War on the hardest difficulty, as games like Sekiro and Elden Ring and Bloodborne. So we're kind of used to the system that's used in the Jedi Survivor game. I'd be hard pressed to find too much to really complain about, as I enjoy the improvements as well as the story thus far, even despite the fact that I didn't understand really the beginning or where we were taking place. After my first impression, I'm giving Star Wars Jedi Survivor a 4.5 out of 5, just because of the lack of information to set up the story at the beginning. I will definitely be continuing Jedi Survivor and look forward to seeing how the second game in what is supposed to be a trilogy ends. I am hoping more choices and the ability to fly ships are included in the final game in the trilogy. That'd be pretty dope. I also want to make mention of the abysmal state Jedi Survivor is in on the PC. I don't believe games should be released with the will fix later hidden disclaimers attached. Games should only be released in fully functional states, and when companies do this and release broken games, it's breaking the trust of the consumer who believes they are buying a working game. I can't imagine how bad Final Fantasy is going to be on the PC, but I imagine that game's going to release broken, because I just have that gut feeling. If you have a PC, I would pay the $15 for EA Plus Pro, which gives you a Jedi Survivor included with your subscription. Now I'm going to toss it off to Rocky to have him give you his thoughts on Jedi Survivor.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor I haven't played a whole ton of yet. However, the introduction that I've had for this first impression is definitely quite solid. We played it over on the PS5, so therefore we don't really have to worry about the technical errors that are happening over on the PC port, although I definitely feel for anybody that did buy it on the PC and kind of get fucked over with having a game that lags a lot. But of course, again, we're just going to be rating this on the PS5 experience that we had. The game plays extremely smoothly, and overall there are tons of details in these very extremely large worlds with tons of detail, from various buildings that you can see the intricacies of to different areas of different worlds that it's very clear have been quite worn down by long years of people living there. Also, when you're on Coruscant, I just keep imagining like how many people fall to their death in this world every single day because there's like barely any guardrails at a lot of places. I like the level design. It has a lot of easy ways to traverse the map. I enjoy the fact that they have the shortcut style things such as like Dark Souls does or Bloodborne does, where after you get to certain points you can cut certain like ropes, etc., or open certain doors to give you various checkpoints to get back to your rest spot. I think that this game definitely has a very clear inspiration from games like the FromSoft games, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, etc., but it puts it in the world of Star Wars and adds its own unique combat flair with the lightsabers as well as the Force. Every time I push somebody back, it feels like you really have true power, and I really respect they don't make you retrain as a Jedi and you kind of just get thrown into the action. I think the entire thing is quite fun right off the bat, and that's a big thing for games, is to be engaging very quickly. And again, they try to throw a good amount of enemies at you to get you to quickly learn how to engage in this game and show you how much power you actually have. There were multiple times that I had to walk into a room and then leave with there being like 8 bodies on the ground, and it was absolutely crazy to see. It was a lot of fun to go through and find also the different types of enemies and see the different weaknesses and strengths that they had, and some of them would absolutely fuck me up, while others just absolutely were easy to kill. I enjoy the differentiation between the different enemies. For example, sometimes you'll have enemies with really heavy laser guns that you have to really focus on to try to deflect them back at them or something in order to get them to die without actually having you die first. On top of that, I do think that at some points they just throw way too many enemies at you, but because you're so strong and powerful, it never really feels that overwhelming. The Force is really fun to use, like I said, to push people back, and it's really cool seeing how you can chain all these various different attacks. I think there are certain animations, especially with the dual-sided blade, that you can get caught in an animation very easily, and it makes it hard to parry or dodge. I do think that the dodge at times can feel a little like weird trying to push it. It doesn't feel as fluid, let's say, as some of the other games that dodge, but I think that for the most part it works quite well. And again, the combat is very engaging throughout. I enjoy the fact that they give you different stances that you can use, making it so that you can have different play styles and adding a certain level of replayability to every single playthrough based upon your style of play. On top of that, they've massively expanded the customization, and so they made it so that you can really feel exactly like the Jedi you want and kind of live in this world. It's really quite fun, and I enjoy the various aspects of the bosses that we've encountered. For example, one of the first bosses you encounter, they can kind of just sense what your next moves will be, and you have to use everything at your disposal in order to get her to take some actual damage. One thing that I think is that they kind of underuse the pull force and the push force. I think that they do use it every here and there, and they make it very clear what you're supposed to use it on. But for example, certain enemies like the floating robots that will then come down and explode, it would be really cool if you could pull them in and then slash them up rather than having to jump at them every time. I really like even the platformer aspects at times that they have where you have to do these double jumps in order to get to certain places, and that's the thing too. This game really switches between so many various different aspects and genres so quickly that it's hard to tell that it's even happening. You'll go from a platformer to a combat game to a drama series to all sorts of various different things in these various different worlds. At one point you're saving a creature from being killed by these evil fucking Empire people. You go through and you live your life as a really powerful Jedi trying to take on the Empire during the Order 66 era. The resting is really easy, and it's again very reminiscent of Dark Souls, and I think that again wearing its heart on its sleeve with its inspirations is definitely the best idea, because again it's different enough from the various other games that I mentioned to make me really engaged and really like it, especially through the different environments being very Star Wars like. There's just no other place that you can get that fun lightsaber action, and I have to respect how well they did that here. One thing my co-host noticed is that they do have like a choice or two here and there, and we're thinking that maybe in number 3 rather, that what they might do is add more choices to the game overall, so you can choose maybe whether you're going to go towards the dark side or light side, and then also maybe expand a bit on maybe the stances more, or various different things. I don't know if you can use like a blaster at some point. Again, we're not very far into this one. That would be quite fun. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what they do in the third one to expand on this one, because they really have expanded on the best parts of the first one and made it just so much better and cleaner and just feels so nice to play. As long as we're talking the console version, I absolutely have to recommend this game, and right now it's a 3.5 out of 4 stars. We're at the beginning, we're not too far, so I really can't give it too much different of a score right now. However, at the moment it does feel a little easy, even though we're playing almost at the top difficulty. We're one difficulty below the top, and it does feel a bit easy in my opinion. But me and my co-hosts are more acquainted with like the Bloodborne style games and all that. We've gone through and played Sekiro. It's possible that they may turn up the difficulty as we go through, so I'm definitely hesitant to say anything there now. And the story isn't gripping me too much. I definitely think, again, throwing you straight in was good. However, you don't really get acquainted with the characters before they leave you, making it so it feels a little dull. However, it definitely was engaging throughout the sequence. So for now, I'm reserving the extra 0.5. However, if throughout the game we get, more of that story, it continues to be gripping, this may very well be a 4 out of 4 game, but even then I might give it a 3.75, knowing that there's going to be a third one and hoping that that one can really hit peak. And again, I'm just excited to see where they go from here. Alright, anyway, thank you, and back over to you, Jason.
Thank you, Rocky, and now we want to hear from you. Have you played Star Wars Jedi Survivor? Have you seen the Obi-Wan and Andor shows on Disney Plus? Let us know in the comments down below. Also down below, you'll find the description where me and my brother Rocky's all other socials are located, as well as a link to our main channel Smokin sessions, where we do movie reviews, watch-alongs, and all sorts of content that we're sure you'll enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, as well as hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on videos like this from us in the future. Thank you so much for watching and or listening to this video, and we will see you all in the next gaming session.
We cannot do. This thing sold us a priceless relic. The key we have been searching for. Except, of course, it's fake!
I spaced out of my head to the depths of the universe. It's a spell or a chance just to open up.